Hey everyone, today we're talking about what makes someone unclean. Then Jesus called the crowd again and said, "Listen to me, all of you, and understand. Nothing outside of a person can enter and contaminate a person in God's sight. Rather, the things that come out of a person contaminate them." After leaving the crowd, he entered a house where his disciples asked him about this riddle. He said to them, "Don't you understand either? Don't you know that nothing from the outside that enters a person has the power to contaminate? That's because it doesn't go into the heart, but into the stomach, and then goes out to the sewer." By saying this, Jesus declared that no food could contaminate a person in God's sight. "It's what comes out of a person that contaminates someone in God's sight," he said. "It's from the inside, from the human heart, that evil thoughts come: sexual sins, theft, murder, adultery, greed, evil actions, deceit, unrestrained immorality, envy, insults, arrogance, and foolishness. All these evil things come from the inside and contaminate a person in God's sight." So, does religion care about the internal or the external? Traditionally, religion is focused on external purity, right? You see it here where it's about washing your hands in the right way, or about touching unclean things or unclean people or eating unclean food. But then it goes into, judging people's spiritual status by their physical appearance. And it's about putting barriers between what's sacred and what's secular and making sure that nothing crosses those barriers. Now, Christianity at least seems to have taken a different path, right? Rejecting food laws, rejecting animal sacrifice, but we've done a pretty good job of still creating rules that focus on externals. Just ask any young woman what she's been taught about modesty culture, and they'll tell you. For Jesus, it's more about what's in your heart than what's on your skin. What matters is not purity codes, but a pure heart. Now, we need to spend a lot more time looking inward at ourselves, at our own harmful desires, and rather than outward at other people's appearances or what we think they're doing. Most of the time, you don't know their heart. And really, do we even know our own? Now, these things aren't completely separate. Jesus himself says in another place that out of the overflow of the heart, the mouth speaks. And he talks about how all of these negative desires here can come from inside of us. But very often we mix up which way that flow goes, right? We think it's the outside affects the inside when Jesus says it works the other way. Purity is a tricky concept because we're seeing even more these days how much that's been misused and abused, the way it's been used to shame certain people. But there is a way we can view purity in a positive way and see it more as about consistency, or it's about wholeness. Purity is wanting the one good thing, to not be divided and say we want one thing and do another, right? That's how I experience things most of the time. But Jesus demonstrates that the true purity is to have pure motivations that lead to pure actions. And that's what we're trying to live up to.